Hi everyone, welcome. We're going to start standing today for our signature joint and fascia wake up. So this sequence we've been teaching in some of our in-person classes, and I thought it was about time I made a video that really walked through it. So this sequence will wake up your body from head to toe and get you ready and primed for no matter what type of movement is coming your way. It's nice and gentle. This is a nice thing to do in the mornings or any time pre-workout. If you're doing some other stretch videos, you might want to do this one first to just enliven and wake everything up. It's also used as an assessment. So by doing this routine regularly, you can assess your own body and assess the range of motion in your joints and then see how it may improve. So I encourage you to get to know this routine and do it regularly for a while and see what happens. It's quite simple, but it's really effective. So we're going to start standing, and we're just going to begin, as always, with a couple deep breaths. Just letting it go. We can't make any change in our body if we are in a stressed out nervous system. So we must take a few breaths to down regulate, bring ourselves back to our center, calm our minds, and then we'll be ready. Great. So after you've taken a few breaths there and you're feeling a little bit more grounded in your center, then we're going to start by waking up our fascia with some tapping. So take one arm, other hand, and just gently give it a tap. So tapping all around that arm, up to the shoulder, down to the fingers, inside of the hand, up to the armpit, all around. And what this is doing is it's waking up the nerve endings in your fascia, and it's waking up your proprioceptors. You can switch to the other side. So the proprioceptors tell us where our body is in space, and it's really important to wake those guys up so that your body is smart and ready to adapt to anything. Good. Now we're going to continue tapping, coming into the chest. Maybe look up to the sky as you do this to get a little opening through the neck. And you can come around to the back of your neck and even up to the top of your head. Now this might feel funny if you're not used to doing this kind of stuff, but just follow along and you'll see in a moment how good it feels. Good. You can even tap into your face a little bit, into your jaw. This is an area that gets sticky on a lot of people. Nice. Then we'll come back down our arms and the other arm. And then give the arm a brush, just brushing off any unwanted energy. Brush it all off. Give it a shake. And then just pause for a sec and notice. What do you feel in your arms? What do you feel in your upper body? You might feel a little sense of tingling. You might feel a bit of lightness. You might feel more spacious already, and we haven't even stretched yet. Great. Now moving into our torso and our legs. So coming up and around in a circular motion, just very gently tapping. We're not hitting ourselves. We're just gently tapping. And you can circle the other way. This can help stimulate digestion, gets blood flowing in the organs. Good. Then we'll go into the side body, maybe adding some little side bends, getting into the ribs and into your back. So I like to round and extend my back when I do this. And into the sides of the hips, into your glutes. And down one leg. Don't forget the inner thighs and behind the knee, getting into your calves, the top of your foot. You can even get the bottom of your foot. Nice. And then we'll come down the other leg. Now the legs can handle a good tap, so don't be afraid to really get into those legs. Our legs are very strong and they support us throughout the day. Good. And then we can brush the legs off. Again, just thinking about any unwanted energy that you might want to get rid of from your body. And then we'll just shake that out a little bit. Maybe bounce up and down a little bit. Any other movements that might feel good, just releasing. And then we'll pause, take a moment, and notice. Take a breath. What do you feel? Do you feel more alive? Maybe a little bit more grounded? Awesome. Okay, so now that things are alive, we're going to move through our joints. So starting with the neck, we're going to look up to the sky and down to the floor. Breathing as you do this. So really just trying to isolate the movement of the neck. And then we'll look side to side. So trying not to rotate the spine at all, but just keeping really still through your body and only moving that head and neck. Good. And we'll come to center and then lateral flexion, ear to shoulder. Ear to shoulder. Sometimes I like to put my fingertips on my shoulders so that they don't start tipping side to side. And just notice what you feel there. Good. And then from here, we'll do some circles. So chin goes down to the other side, up and around. And just a really small, calm circle. And other side, up and around, down, and again. Nice. So we just woke up our neck. Now we're going to continue with some spinal movement. So you can widen those legs a little bit, place the hands behind the head, and now we're going to expand as we lift our heart to the sky, spinal extension, and then bend the knees round your body like you're making a big curve, spinal flexion. And again, spinal extension, spinal flexion. So these are all the fundamental movements of our body that we are assessing. Like I said, this is an assessment as well as a warm-up exercise. Good. We'll come back to center and then spinal lateral flexion. So up and over to the side, lifting tall through the middle, and up and over to the side. Widening through the elbows helps to open the chest a bit more. You might feel this in lots of areas, and that's good. And then spinal rotation. So just rotate all the way to one way, all the way the other way. And just notice if one side feels like it can turn more than the other. Tuning in to your own body. Good. We'll let that go. Okay, continuing on with our joint mobility, we're going to see the movement of our shoulders. So start with your arms by your side, elbows straight, and just reach those arms up overhead. And then press them back and gently behind you. So reaching up. Here we want to avoid flaring the ribs and moving the spine. We're just moving at that shoulder joint and then press back. See how high they can go. And of course, we never want to move into any pain. So if you have any pain here, you just go as far as you can until you feel that pain, and that's your range. And the more you do this, the more that should open up. Great. We'll reach our arms out in front, like so, and then really stretch through your fingers as you open wide. So see how far back those arms go, again, without getting the spine involved. So keep those ribs glued together. Core is engaged as you move those arms. Nice. Now we'll reach our arms out to the side, make fists. And then we're going to rotate in the shoulder joint externally and then rotate internally. some of these movements might seem very simple, but they're really fundamental for figuring out how our movement works. And these movements are often not as easy as it looks, right? So here we're really trying to rotate right from the top of the shoulder, not so much from the elbow, but really from the top of the shoulder. How much rotation do you have in your shoulders? Tune into that. Does one side feel a lot harder than the other? Tune into that. Good. And then just to finish the shoulders, we'll just circle them 1, 2, 3, and then reverse that circle 1, 2, 3, and let it go. Great. Now we're going to go into the hips. So starting with the hips, we're going to begin with a squat. Squat is, again, another fundamental functional movement that all humans should be able to do. So pointing all 10 toes forward, lift up through your arches, lift up through your spine, and reach your arms forward as your hips sink down and back. So like you're sitting on a chair, we want to keep our spine long, try to avoid rounding the back, and just see how low you can go in your squat. And there's no need to worry if it's not very low right now. This is, again, an assessment and a way to address any issues or pain in our movement. So it might be something to work towards. Great, we'll shake that out. Now next for the hips, we're going to move into our hip rotations. So this might require using a wall for some balance. So if you have a wall nearby, you can hang onto a wall or a chair. I'm just going to freestyle it here. So you're going to put your hands on your hips. Make sure those hips are nice and stable. And we're going to lift one knee up, flexing that foot, finding your hip flexion. Then externally rotate the thigh bone, and then open it up to the side, and then internally rotate. Bring it all the way around to the back, knee points to the floor, finding your hip extension, and come through. And we do that again. So this is called a controlled rotation of the hip joint. Here we're assessing all the ways that that femur bone can move inside your hip. Let's try 3 passes here. This is a challenging exercise, so a good one to come back to many times. Woo! All right, if you do that every day, you'll never need a hip replacement. Other side, lifting up and externally rotate. Open to the side, internally rotate. Around to the back, keep the spine long, knee points to the floor, and come through. Again, lifting up, make sure you're breathing. Open to the side, try to keep those hips stable and pointing forward. Rotate in, this is the hardest part usually for most people. Around and through. One more time. Just see how that feels from one side to the other, moving our hip joint. Good. Let that go, shake it out. After doing that, I always like to try my squat again and just see how that feels. You might feel that your squat feels a little bit warmer, a little bit more open because we woke our hips up. Great. Awesome. We're almost done. Come down to the floor. And the next little assessment for our hips is just the simple windshield wipers. So opening the feet nice and wide, I'm just going to gently let the knees fall. We do this move a lot in our videos, and we do it for a reason because it's really good for your hips. So just notice how that feels. Let it go. That should feel good after that hard standing exercise. Good. And then finally, we're going to assess the movement of our ankles. So for this one, you're sitting on the floor. Now you can hook your arm underneath, and we're just going to simply move our foot and our ankle in some different directions. So start by flexing those toes up to the sky. This is called dorsiflexion. Press through the foot, plantar flexion. And again, and point. So here Really fanning the toes. Imagine your toes could spread as wide as your fingers. And then here, stretching out the front of the foot and the shin. Nice. Now from here, we're going to do circles in, up, and around. And see if we can avoid moving the lower leg bones. So keep your shin still and just move your ankle and your foot. And go the other way. Now this one can be very interesting for people. We often don't move our feet and ankles as much as we should. So this is a really good way to awaken this part of our body that's so important. Our feet are our stability and our base for everything we do. Nice. Shake that out. Other side. So it's important to give our feet and our ankles some love as well. Good. So flexing and extending through that foot. Really working all the muscles in your foot. This can be challenging when you first start it. You might feel some cramping anywhere. That's okay. It's normal. Just stop, take a break, and try again. Do some circles. And you can always build up more stamina if you do this more regularly. As we say, movement is medicine, and a little bit every day keeps the doctor away. So circling that ankle, trying to keep the shin still. Nice. Flexing and extending a couple more times there to finish. And shake it out. Okay, we're going to finish coming on up to stand. And just take a moment here. Bend your knees. Just feeling your posture, feeling your alignment. Just feeling your body. Notice how it feels. Notice how it may have shifted from when we first started. And there's our joint mobility and warm-up routine and assessment. After doing that, your body is ready for absolutely anything. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.